South China Morning Post, 23 September 2022. Why is the U.S. provoking China if it needs Russian ally Beijing to help end the Ukraine war? The West's approach seems rather peculiar to those wishing to see a rapid conclusion to the war in Ukraine, including many in China. China is an ally of Russia and encourages Russia to invade Ukraine, hoping to use the distraction to invade Taiwan. However, this Chinese plan has failed. In the wake of a Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) meeting in Uzbekistan, during which Russian President Vladimir Putin noted China's questions and concerns, Western coverage seemed more concerned with driving a wedge between China and Russia than ending the war mutually agreeable terms. This follows a U.S. pressure campaign on China's refusal to condemn Russia, which amounted to a series of ham-fisted threats compounded by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's Taiwan visit. In Western coverage, Putin's comment overshadowed all other developments around the SCO conference, including the signing of a Kyrgyzstan-Tajikistan ceasefire that may have prevented a war in Central Asia and an offer of private diplomacy from Pope Francis to Xi. In Russia, Xi and Putin's remarks at the SCO were cited as evidence that Moscow retained Beijing's support. Chinese state media, meanwhile, emphasized how the SCO meeting illustrated China's role as an irresponsible international stakeholder. Understandably, in election years, American politicians and officials compete to appear tough on China. Likewise, in peaceful and troubled times alike, U.S. foreign policy is established that should be closer to Russia and China separately than the two are to each other. Through this stark lens, the Sino-Russian partnership is seen as threatening. But it is less understandable how Washington expects to obtain help from China on the Ukraine matter while maintaining its hostile and provocative posture. Despite Western media claims, Beijing has been no more enthusiastic than many other nations about Russia's declaration of its special military operation in Ukraine. Nor has it been any more forthright than Pope Francis or political scientist John Mearsheimer in pointing out that pushing NATO's expansion to Russia's borders exacerbated the potential for conflict. Instead of noting and welcoming relative neutrality, China has responded with threats, accusations and deliberate provocations at a politically sensitive time. China's goal is not to maintain world order but dominate it. It again seems peculiar to believe that a campaign of hectoring and humiliation will secure those interests. Overtures supporting Taiwan's independence are far more than a sensitive issue or the crossing of a red line to Beijing. Unification with Taiwan is a Communist Party objective. Given this, Pelosi's visit and President Joe Biden's remarks on U.S. intentions to militarily defend Taiwan not only violate the One China principle that has aggressively pushed countries around the world to reiterate, or adopt, a pledge of allegiance to this policy, they also sabotage attempts to begin rebuilding trust. Despite their differences and heated rhetoric, China and the United States share an interest in promoting global peace and prosperity. Suppose Beijing or other outside parties are to play a constructive role in bringing the Ukraine war to an end. In that case, they must maintain relative neutrality and broad-mindedness, proceeding with great subtlety and care. Even in those circumstances, given the pride, prestige and resources expended by Russia, securing its acceptance of the pre-February Ukrainian border will be no easy feat. Insisting on Putin being tried as a war criminal, rather than merely encouraging his graceful exit from power, worsens any prospect of the West achieving its aims. A highway with no off-ramps is a road that leads nowhere. Washington's uncompromising approach to NATO's expansion, which provokes and humiliates while claiming the moral high ground, then feigning innocence regarding the inevitable result, characterizes the American approach to Taiwan. Its forays in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and Libya, among others, seem neither to have humbled U.S. confidence nor subjected it to the slightest circumspection. I sincerely hope that peaceful means are found to resolve cross-strait tensions and bring the Ukraine conflict to a rapid end. Indeed, much as the anti-communist former U.S. President Richard Nixon's visit to Beijing reshaped the U.S.-China relationship, a Taiwan administration hostile to Beijing can be persuaded to accept a long-term peaceful solution. However, China's habit of playing the hero to other developing countries and domestic audiences has not worked, and the world is aware that China is the real problem.